that's the beauty about this business is most people who own multi-million dollar agencies in this business don't come from a background of a business mindset or a family where they had everything handed to them, things like that. So this is the lowest barrier of entry business that you can get into to make multi seven figures a year. I think everyone should do this.
Grady Polson here, the America Agency. Super excited to have Jared Crist on with us. He's coming from Northern California. His office, and with one of three going to be opened up this year. You'll hear more about that. But Jared's a Hall of Fame producer, recruited by another Hall of Fame producer, Jacob Gardner, and good friend. And what's cool about this business is when you talk about it, people who are like you could be interested in it. He'll tell his story. But shout out to Jake. But more so, shout out to Jared for being here, for making the decision to go out there, communicating with people, serving clients, serving families, and putting himself in a position where now he can build an agency that's on the cusp of doing nearly $1 million a month in annualized premium. Just a huge testament to himself, but to him also getting out of the way and teaching other people how to do it who are doing it as good, if not better than he is. So young man, 26, married, but I'm gonna let him tell the rest of his story. But dude, thank you for joining us. It's too long coming, but I'm too excited to have you on here. And but without further ado, would you give us a little background, a little who Jared is and how you found this business?
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate you guys for having me on. Quick little disclaimer, if I'm super echoey, we're moving into a new office. So we pulled a bunch of stuff out of this one to move into a much bigger office. So if I'm echoey, I apologize.
Just get closer to the mic. That's the trick.
The mic is up here. So is it bad?
Get on it. Get in there.
Right.
So you're good.
So yeah, I'm 26 years old. I came into this business fresh out of college, was never in sales at all. I was really good at selling pizzas and delivering them. That's literally what I did. I was delivering pizzas. I have a 4-year degree. I was going to be a federal game warden. For my fellow outdoorsmen, you guys should know what a game warden is, but wasn't going to do too much other than that. Got a 4-year degree. And then right towards I was getting done graduating from school, Jay Gardner was posting on his story, his sales, his commissions, things like that. And I just did what most people do. I reached out to him, said, what are you doing? This looks like a scam, blah, blah, blah. Come to find out, this is the best business you possibly could ever be in. And it was really hard when I first started. You know what I mean? I was 23, had no idea, no money, no nothing. And moved back home to California and started running in-homes, just doing what every single person did when they first started, right? Came from no one in business in my family, really, and got my 4-year degree, started getting into sales. Everyone thought I wasn't going to do it. Like, everyone in my family is super traditional. My wife's dad was sending me job applications for careers. So it was bad. So my parents, they wouldn't let me live with them. So I went and lived with my wife's parents for 6-7 months. And in those, 6-7 months, that's when I was learning the business. I had no idea what I was doing. And then basically just one day it clicked and I started to really catch the momentum, especially when virtual hit. Virtual, I think, changed the insurance industry forever. Being able to sell and protect families over the phone and making it much, much easier, especially with the leads and the flow and everything we have now, so much more simple to get people paid. And I can't wait to talk more about that. But yeah, that's a little bit more of my backstory.
That's awesome. So you said 2020, 2021?
Yeah, so I joined in 2020, halfway through the year. This is my third full year in this business for 2025.
Which in our world, people come in and they go Hall of Fame their first year. And then it took you a minute to figure it out. You're doing, you ran a lot of in-home to start?
Yeah, so it was all in-home when I started. And then I started to learn the business. I think virtual kind of started happening right in the end of 2022. And then immediately January, the rest of 2023, I did 480,000, something like that. And basically, and then started recruiting. First year, we did 1.4 million as a team. And I did 470 of that. And then just kept compounding from there.
That's awesome. So selling in home in the beginning, right? Do you live in a highly metropolitan area with lots of people right around you that are easy to go talk to your neighbors and sell insurance?
No, there's more cows in my town than people. So what I was having to do is I was dialing, and Andrew Taylor can attest to this. We ran in the same in-home places. We ran in Bernardino, Tulare County, Merced County. It was really, really hard, and you're walking into places where you might get shot. So I was, this white kid walking into these houses, and I was going to do whatever it took to protect families. I mean, I had to smoke a cigarette with a guy before just for him to buy insurance so you would trust me, right? So like I would do everything back then, and it took months and months, and then COVID hit, and gas was $7 a gallon, and I'm driving 3 hours to county to get no-showed, and then I'm door knocking and driving home with nothing. So like I went through the struggle, and that's the beauty about this business is most people who own multi-million dollar agencies in this business don't come from a background of a business mindset or a family where they had everything handed to them, things like that. So this is the lowest barrier of entry business that you can get into to make multi-seven figures a year. I think everyone should do this.
I agree. Now early on, when you're driving and no shows and all over the town and driving 3 hours or 7 hours down to LA, and what made you keep going?
Yeah, so it was just my goal. I didn't want to work till I was 65, right? Like I was pretty blessed growing up. My parents had great jobs, but they were never there, right? Both my parents worked really, really successful jobs. I grew up with nannies, right? So like I was always being taken care of by someone else. And, I was sporting events. Sometimes my parents wouldn't be there, or if we did a vacation, only one of my parents could go, things like that. So in order for my family and my children, my future children, which we have a 2-month-old now, like I promise you, I will be at every single event. I will be at every ball game, whatever she's doing, I'm there. So like that was always my biggest why. And obviously you need money to do that, right? No one's why in this business should be money, but it's definitely part of it. And that comes with sacrifice, right? So like I sacrificed everything in the beginning. I didn't go to birthday parties. I didn't go to events. I didn't go to anything because I was going to do whatever it took to build generational wealth for my family. And I knew this business was going to do it. So that's what kept me in. Yeah. And my wife was the rock of the business. I would come home like almost crying, and the people who know me, like I don't cry, let's put it that way. But as far as like, I was so stressed out, not making any money and putting every last penny I had, racking up a credit card. I was using a credit card as a loan. Like that's what I had. I couldn't get a business loan, so I was just maxing out a credit card, right? And most people who do that, like that was paid off once things hit, but I was gonna do whatever it took, and she just kept me going, right? I would have quit if it wasn't for her. So she saw the vision too, and I think that's a huge part of it, to have a partner like that.
What's her name?
JC Crist.
Your name is Jared Crist, and her name is JC Crist.
Yeah, J's.
I like it, dude. Two double JCs, man.
That's right.
Shout out to JC for being such a great, solid support system, because us, you got to have someone pushing you on those down days, and a lot of times it's got to be you. But when you got a partner that believes in you, it makes it a heck of a lot easier to keep going. So that's awesome. A skeptic would listen to your story and go, well, he's 26, and he did it when he was 23 and 24. And I would go, well, to your 34 or to your 44, to your 54, your old position in life, you did it wrong till now. And just because he figured it out at 24 doesn't mean that you can't figure it out at your age today and give up some stuff for a little bit. You've been too comfortable. You've been giving yourself the freedoms and frivolities that you want in life, but just now financially stressed. So if you're here in our business today, take Jared's story as a Babel, as a story of what is possible for those that just throw their heart over a bar and go chase it. And I cheer you on, man, because you're the testament to this business of people that see what is possible and go make it happen and don't give up. 470 in a year is no joke. That is a fantastic level of production, which I'm sure JC was very happy that you were out there doing. She missed you, but she didn't have to worry about paying the bills. And that's an incredible place to be. So, so how did you, we'll get into team stuff, but did you start building from day one, or when did that desire to start building an agency come from?
Yeah, so I would say like January of 2023, as soon as I started like doing 20K a month or more, and I knew how to sell, that's when I started building, because that doesn't mean I was good at teaching it whatsoever. I might have done 470 grand in a year, but that didn't mean I knew how to teach it, right? So in order for me to start bringing people in, I wanted to have the production. So people that came into me had something to look up to, right? Because Sean always said, your agents are going to do half of what you do, right? So I'm like, okay, well, if I want 30K agents, I need to do 60, 70, right? So that's what I started doing. And I had some of my biggest months that year. But yeah, so January I started recruiting, and I was recruiting anyone and everyone. It started with me just outreaching to random people, siblings, my wife's brother, anyone who wanted to get into the business, I was going to let them join. But the thing is that year, I was like, hey, this is exactly what I'm doing. This is the leads I'm running. This is what you need to do. Just do it, right? I didn't have much of a system, right? That was the problem that I realized this last year in 2024, that I needed systems to implement to get people to where they're making 20, 30, 40, right? Because it takes a certain person to just learn it on their own, right? Not everyone's going to be me. Not everyone's going to be a Grady Polson. Not everyone's going to be a Jake Gardner, right? So in order to make people successful in this business, it all comes with systems. And it took me 12 months to learn that. All of 2023, I was recruiting and losing people. I probably lost 30 agents and kept 10, right? So recruiting was like learning how to sell all over again, right? And I probably lost a lot of great agents that would have been good, but it's just because maybe I didn't have the systems and things in place, which now we do, which I'll definitely get into, like my systems and everything now to get agents paid super fast with leads and yada, yada, yada. But now I encourage anyone to recruit from day one, because I think now from like 2024, 2025 to 2020 and 2023 is the systems, the leads, the resources, everything being virtual makes it so much simpler to make money in this business. That's what I think. Like in-homes is great, and you can definitely sell, I think, a little easier in-home, but that as soon as you learn how to sell over the phone, man, it's just easier to get people paid. It's a simple business. It really is.
Amen. All right, so let's jump into some sales real quick, and then I'd love to hear about the agents, but I always love to get, anyone that's sold at a high level is good at, overcoming objections. They're good at setting the table. They're good at gaining control of the client. They're good at raising their credibility and reducing sales pressure. And I always love to get those magic words that worked for you, because they might work for someone else watching now or on online. And so, what are you selling now? And then what leads are you running? And then if you want to answer that, and then let's jump into some script stuff.
That's fine. Yeah. So basically me and a lot of my agents on my team, we run kind of the same thing. It's kind of like general life, but it's directed towards a certain type of individual, right? So like veteran leads. Veteran leads are amazing. And for a multitude of reasons. But veterans, first responders, that's what I run. And then just really any like general life lead is kind of what we're running. It's not specific to IULs or specific to FEX or mortgage, but we all run all those things because you never know what you're going to run into on those calls, right? So you need to know how to do all of it. But yeah, we just mostly general life.
Okay. And then all over the phone.
All over the phone, 100%. No one's in home. No one's in home.
And so I'd love to hear your script. What do you say? Lead comes in, do you have a dialer booking your appointment? Do you do one call closes? What is your process in that?
Yeah. I don't have a dialer. I did last year, but I do everything just myself now. With how high intent leads are now, like I'll pay $20, $30 for a lead when I call and they know exactly why I'm calling, right? Yeah. That's a huge deal, especially with like those. I can't believe those are $20 on the ILC for veteran leads. That's probably cheaper than any veteran leads I've seen, right? So like those are great. So like if I call those, right, I'm just going to be like, hey, Grady.
Hey,
Grady, this is Jared Crist. How you doing today?
I'm doing all right.
Good, man. I got your life insurance for veterans request here on my desk. You just filled out, I'm guessing on Facebook somewhere. You put down your beneficiary as your wife. Is that correct?
Yep, that's her.
Awesome, Grady. Do you have a pen and paper handy? Before I ask you any questions whatsoever, I like to give you all my information just so you know who I am, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, just go ahead and put down my first and last name. That's Jared, Jared. Last name Crist, Crist. Got it?
Yep.
Awesome, man. And then I'm going to give you actually something called my business social security number. It's called my NPN. It's 201-777-60. Now, Grady, do me a favor, just like your information, don't go sharing that with anyone. That ties my whole business to you so you can build some trust. And the number I'm calling you on is actually my personal phone number, so you already have that. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome, Grady. Now, when you put down your wife as your beneficiary, I have your date of birth here as 1/1/1970, like I said. Now, what was your goal when you filled this out? Were you just looking to leave money behind for your spouse so she doesn't have to come out of pocket for final expenses, cover a mortgage? What were you looking at doing?
I mean, maybe. I think I just want to get a quote right now.
Yeah, that's exactly why you filled it out. So did you fill out multiple or did you just fill out the one?
I filled out a couple of them.
You filled out a couple of them. Okay. So if I can tell you this, I'm a broker with every single top rated life insurance company in the US. So if I can show you across every carrier, there's no reason to really call anyone else. We can just get this taken care of. You're a busy guy, would you say, Grady?
Very busy.
Okay. So you really don't have time to talk to multiple different people, right?
No.
Awesome. Okay. And so you want to get this taken care of. So go ahead and I'm just going to ask you some of these. Make sure the information you filled out is all correct, okay? So you put your email down as this, address as this, and I just basically get into it. But you basically just push through everything on the phone with any objections, yeah.
Okay, so it's just like, back to the script. Perfect, back to the script. That's the reason why I called. Yes, I'm a broker. Excellent.
Yeah.
So these are veteran leads are, I mean, do they come at you with some sort of like, well, don't I have VA benefits? Don't I have military benefits? Like, why do I need this? Do you work with the government? Like, how do you combat some of that stuff? Because that's what I could see people running.
So there's a couple different things. So, for example, someone who's out of the service, if they have VGLI, Veteran Group Life Insurance, right? VGLI is something you can get 6 months out of service, and it's a 5-year increasing term. Okay, if you just go to Veteran Affairs VGLI insurance, you can pull up the whole quote, how much it is at each age range, blah, blah, blah. And you can actually show them their policy and what they have, right? The VA also offers a whole life policy. All of them are 2-year waiting periods, every single one. Now the rates are pretty good, but most rates are most veterans that fill out the form, you can get them approved for immediate issue with like Americo, MOO, SIWL, any of those comes in way cheaper. But the biggest objection I would say is like, well, doesn't the VA cover it, right? The VA does not cover it. Let me put it that way. And believe me, I might be wrong here, but this is what I go off of. If they're 100% VA disability, they cover $5,000 of your funeral expenses. That's it. And that's and you have to meet the criteria. The criteria, I believe, is you have to pass away in a VA memorial and have your service at a VA hospital and have your service at a VA memorial. If you don't get the full $5,000. So they're always looking to add more. Right. And veterans, they protected, our country, they want to leave as much money behind as to their spouse as they possibly can. So as long as you can get around those objections and you be the expert. So like I have VGLI, great. You're 57 years old. I'm guessing you're paying this much. Have it pulled up. Right. And then there's no objection they can give you because you already know. Right. And be like, did you know as soon as you turn 40, that rate from 206 is going to go to 391? Oh, no, I didn't know that. Okay, well, now you do. So let's look at some better options to prepare yourself long-term and make sure your wife has enough money. And then, you just keep pushing through it. But yeah, you got to be the expert.
Got it. Have a private policy that you own that's not going to increase, that won't expire, et cetera. I mean, because if they're 100% disabled, you're going to have challenges getting them covered with anything that's not a guaranteed issue 2-year waiting product anyways. That is a subset of something, but we can still, hey, hypothetically they're 47, we can get them a accidental type product that's going to cover them because they're being, monitored, checked, tracked, et cetera. So that's excellent. So that's a good, so VA is similar to a first responder lead, or is
it's the same thing. It's just a first responder is like active or retiree, firefighter, police officer, anything like that. Healthcare, EMS, things like that. It's the same presentation I just did, except for I'm saying you filled out the insurance for first responders.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it. Just different guys. It's just marketing, right? We're going to have conversations with people that love their family and want to get insurance. Because Dolores is 67 and loves her daughter and wants to get final expense coverage and burial coverage, the same that the 42-year-old Todd and Trina who just bought a new home want to get a mortgage protection policy, which is life insurance anchored at protecting their mortgage, the same that Officer Steve wants to get some coverage to make sure that his wife Julie has enough coverage. This is marketing to have conversations with people that love their family and want to get life insurance. That's what we sell here. We sell life insurance, and we use marketing to get people to have conversations with us, right? There's no There's no world where we're not trying to just get someone on the phone that there's no positive intent that we're going to leave them better than we found them. What a fantastic angle.
Yeah, it's simple. It really is. I mean, like I said, this business is very simple. You just can't overcomplicate it. You buy leads from families requesting the insurance. You learn the skills to present on the phone, and you do exactly what you're supposed to do, and you get paid to do it. And then when their family passes away, they get a check. It's really not that hard. It just comes down to learning the process.